Hello and welcome to State Matters. I'm your host, Matt Muratore. My guest today is a graduate of Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C. with a degree in architecture and urban planning. He served as town moderator and selectman for the town of Hanover and ran a successful campaign in 2012 for county commissioner. He's the owner and president of Project Planning Professionals, a firm specializing in municipal project procurement, permitting, and construction. Please join me in welcoming the chairman of the board of the Plymouth County Commissioners, Dan Pallotta. Dan, thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about the county commissioners, but before we do that, let's talk about Dan Pallotta. Tell us, our viewers, who is Dan Pallotta?
I am, as you had indicated, a graduate of Catholic U. I was in D.C. for 6 years.
Nice university. My wife spent the summer there.
Did she?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an awesome school.
Yeah.
When I went there, it was really diverse. Not as many Catholics as you would think were there.
Yeah.
They have one of the few schools that has a philosophy doctorate. So you got a lot of really diverse people that went to the school. Mm-hmm. But they have an awesome architecture and engineering program, and I wanted to be an architect at the time.
What made you decide to do that?
Always was putting blocks together. Always trying to build something. So
and
I always
thought
I thought the architect had more to do with the construction than really the drawing part. When I applied, as I went through school, I realized what I really wanted to do was build. And when I got out, I went to construction. So I did construction for 25 years, and during the crash of 2006. Decided to go into the OPM field because I represent.
What's OPM?
OPM is Owner's Project Management.
Mm-hmm.
I was the town's representative in Hanover for our new high school, and we were the first project funding agreement with the state's new MSBA, and one of the first things they did was ask us to hire an OPM, and the OPM. Didn't understand how a town worked, didn't understand how finance committees worked, didn't understand that piece of it. They certainly understood how to build a building, but I thought that I could add that extra piece to it and serve the cities and towns better. Since then, we've worked in 20 municipalities. Some of my municipalities 3 and 4 times.
What sort of buildings you doing? Mostly schools?
Everything. Schools, city halls. We're on our 4th senior center. We've done just about everything, to be honest with you. So, and all of our clients love us. I mean, they really do. We do a good job.
Well, you leading it, how can they not?
Well, I'd like to say that I have a good piece of it. So
you do.
I have 6 children, and my youngest.
I know we're tied for that. Yes.
Yeah, my youngest played her last high school soccer game against your alma mater, Cardinal Spellman, last night. So I'm not happy with you or Mr. Coulter. But other than that, things are pretty good.
That's good. You're still in Hanover?
Still in Hanover.
Yeah.
Pretty happy about where I am, and doing really good things down at the county.
So you were when doing the research, I saw you were town moderator.
I was a moderator, yes.
And when were you the moderator? How long were you the moderator?
I was a moderator from, I was elected in 99,
okay.
And I was moderator till 2003 or 4.
Okay.
The town had a jihad, and I was tossed. So
really?
I'm a huge believer in term limits by ballot, and I had changed just about everything that was being done in our town meeting. Our town meeting was lethargic. People were just raising their hands. There was no debate. And I had changed that, but I had changed it too fast. My successor has implemented all the things that I changed, but not with the stigma of me changing them. So I'm pretty happy about where the town is with regard to the legislative branch. But they had enough of me, and I moved on. So
and you became selectman.
I became a selectman because our moderator that replaced me, wonderful woman who was state rep Jan O'Brien, had died in office. And when she died in office, the procedure to replace the moderator is to elect a moderator on the floor of town meeting. In Hanover, our town meeting is before the elections, and I told the selectmen I'd be happy to cover that meeting till the election. They didn't like the idea, so they moved the election. And our bylaw says the election shall be the first Saturday after the first Monday in May. I thought that was an illegal move. I got mad. I ran for selectman, and I got in overwhelmingly twice.
Wow,
I beat a
terrific.
9-year incumbent, and the people saw through what was going on.
Yeah.
And I went and changed the form of government in Hanover to a strong town manager, and did what I do best, which is to build things. Got the school built. We got a senior center built. We got a road bond passed. We got our meals tax appropriated to OPEB liability and retirement liability, not to funding the government, but to funding the promises that were made by 2 generations ago. So I'm pretty happy with the accomplishments I did.
You had 2 terms as a selectman.
2 terms as a selectman, and my first year there, I was sent down to a place called Plymouth County. As you were, as a member of the advisory
So explain
board.
how that works, the advisory.
So the advisory board's the legislature of the
county,
county,
yeah.
and it's 1 selectman of each town and 1 counselor from the city of Brockton and the town of Bridgewater. And you can't delegate it. It has to be a selectman or a counselor. So my first meeting there was so chaotic, disorganized, and dysfunctional. I was out of my mind. My second year, I asked that everybody resign. And my third year,
How'd that go over?
it went over pretty interestingly. In my third year, I was chairman of the legislative body. So, and I did that for 4 years. And I found that the county needed to be really corrected in the executive branch. So I ran for county commissioner in 2012. I was one of only 2 Republicans in the entire state that was elected that year. I was elected, and a representative in Amesbury was elected. Everyone else got trounced by the Obama wave.
And why do you think that was, that you got elected here in Plymouth County?
Part of it's demographics, part of it is name recognition, and part of it is that nobody wanted the seat, I think.
Yeah.
But I really do believe it's people recognize when you do something good and you try to do something good, and you get a positive vote. I loved it, and since getting on the county commissioner with Commissioner Wright, the commission has gone to a Republican majority. I've been chairman for all 3 years I've been there. And Greg Hanley, who was a staunch, liberal Democrat, and I have been working together, and there's no animosity. He's a good person. His heart's good. We don't believe in the same dogma, but we both agree what needs to do at the county, and all of our votes show that.
Explain to people watching, because a lot of people don't know, what does
the county do?
What does a county do, and why is it relevant?
It's almost not relevant, and you always hear, it's time to get rid of the county.
You hear that a lot.
You do. You hear that a lot, and I'm going to explain it to you.
How many? Just before you start that, how many counties are there that have county commissioners?
There are 5 counties that have county commissioners, and a 6th county where the Board of Selectmen are the county commissioners.
Okay, and the rest of the counties?
The rest of the counties have been dissolved by the Commonwealth.
Okay.
The counties in 1978 had hospitals, the DA office, the courts, the court offices, everything but the judges. The roads, coroner, forensics, jails, sheriff's departments. Every time that the state of Massachusetts needed money, they took a chunk of the counties. Well, now the county's down to just the registry of deeds and cooperative extension and a bunch of little odds and ends. The funding system's archaic and broken. How
is it funded?
It's funded primarily through deeds excise and recording fees, as well as a small tax to each municipality. That's the major sources of funding right there. It doesn't work right now. the county of Plymouth receives 10.375 cents of every dollar that's collected. 89.675 cents goes to you up at the State House, and you give it to Lowell and Pittsfield and everywhere but Plymouth. We've tried to correct that since Greg and I were elected. We've put bills in, Greg, Sandy, and I, and we've continually hammering on that. And right now we have a bill again that we've had our hearing on to change the deeds excise formula so that more tax dollars that you're paying through your real estate transfers and your recordings comes back to Plymouth County. There's no reason why we should be subsidizing Mattapan or Revere or Medford or anyone else. Our dollars should stay here with the county.
So explain to people, what does the county actually do? What sort of, I know you just talked about the registry of deeds, and what sort of other things are they doing now? You talked about things that have been taken away, but...
I'll tell you some of the things that we do. The registry of deeds obviously is one of the functions of the county. We have the best registrar, even though he's a Democrat.
Yeah.
We have the best registrar in the state, John Buckley, who is probably one of the hardest working public servants that I know, trying to do things. In part of the county commissioner's role is to make sure he's funded properly, make sure he's staffed properly, make sure his buildings are taken care of, his technology gets done. We are the authority to check and balance all the finances related to the deeds excise. To the deeds, our registry of deeds. We also have a very vibrant, probably the second strongest cooperative extension, and the cooperative extension serves daily about 300 or 400 children in the county.
Now,
about
what is that? Explain what that is.
Cooperative extension used to be, when it was fully funded, a program for all the farmers and for the 4-H clubs to educate about agriculture. One of the strongest attributes of Plymouth County's history is agriculture. And when there was a rare problem with a cranberry crop or something, they would come to the cooperative extension to get the answer on how to solve the problem. We get a small stipend from the University of Massachusetts Extension Service, but it's primarily funded by the county commission through county tax dollars, that program. It is incredibly successful with the children because most of the children that are in that program are children that don't play sports. They might not excel in school, and agriculture is their thing. And they need a place, and they need somewhere to go. And we reach and touch so many of these kids. So we have that program going on. We have a recently started collectivizing OPEB liability from municipalities and government entities. We're over 20 entities now. We have almost $3 million collected so that we can invest it at a higher rate of return than an individual municipality or government entity can. We're hoping to model it after the retirement board so that you get a higher rate of return because the county treasurer has the ability to invest in a different style than the municipalities' treasurers that have all sorts of rules on them. So we're working really hard to help the cities and towns pool their money. It doesn't cost them anything, it's a minor little fee, but it's something where they're going to get a great return on. We started that about a year ago and it's going really, really well. Treasurer O'Brien was the brainchild behind it. The commission has studied it and we pushed it forward. It's called PCOT, Plymouth County OPEB Trust. We provide the mechanism for all the purchases of vehicles. Right now, if you buy
Plymouth County municipalities?
Not only in Plymouth County, the entire state.
Oh.
We sold police cars to Westfield. We sell dump trucks to Falmouth. I mean, we sell cars and trucks all over the place. And that is something that is a service that we provide because for each town to do an RFP and a procurement is a cost, and they're not going to get the same level of rate as when we, again, collectively do it. The county as a regional form of government works in 49 states. It doesn't work in Massachusetts.
I was going to bring that up.
It doesn't work in
all
you
other
see it
states.
all over. It doesn't work here. We're very nationalistic about our towns. But it wasn't too long ago that the county really had a bigger role. I mean, dog licenses, veteran services. I can go down the list of things the counties used to do that have all been taken away. So we're really a shell of what we were.
Do you ever think it will get back to that?
Only if there's a change in mindset up at Beacon Hill. Beacon Hill has to change it. And I don't see that change in the near term. I'm hoping I can help educate and get that change, because I think it's beneficial. I think some of these smaller towns cannot survive on their own at the rate of growth being forced on them without collectivizing with other towns. And occasionally you'll see a cooperative between a few towns, but legislatively it can easily occur through the county. The county was in such bad financial state, it couldn't do anything for anybody in the past 10 years. We finally have a balanced budget. We've done what the governor didn't do, what the towns haven't done. We eliminated the people we had to eliminate to have a balanced budget and start with a rock-solid foundation. And right now, Plymouth County's on solid footing, better than it has been in 20 years. Our budget is based without any grants or any sale of assets, and we're ready to go. I mean, you, being a resident of Plymouth, have been the biggest benefactor of the county's woes. You got the 1820 courthouse for next to nothing, which is going to be a new town hall. You got a deed restriction on the county farm that was worth $5.5 million that the commissioners gave for $300,000. Things like that just shouldn't be happening at the county level.
Right. Now, you also oversee the courthouses too?
We oversee 3 courthouses. From a maintenance standpoint, all 3 of them are in deplorable condition. Since the election in 2012, we have completely redone the heat and the air conditioning in the Hingham Courthouse with the assistance of the Commonwealth. We are currently in the queue for an $11 million rehab of the Brockton Superior Court. We're just waiting for the word. The documents are done. It's shovel ready to go. The contractors are all lined up. We're just waiting for the word on the money, and we're gonna do the heating, the roof, the windows to get that building so that it'll last another 50 years. Because to replace it's $70 or $80 million, and there's no land to do it. So we're doing what we promised we would do, Greg, myself, and Sandy. We just do it out of the limelight. No one really knows what we do. I refer to us as the bastard child of government. No one knows what we do. No one wants to know what we do. And we're always the question on WATD, should county government go?
Right.
And I call Christine James all the time and say, do you really have to ask that question? She goes, yeah, I get so much mileage out of it.
I know, exactly. I've always thought, and I've always said publicly, that I think consolidation of services in towns has to happen.
It has to happen.
And the best way to do it, I think, is through a county government.
Right.
And I believe you 3 have shown that you've been successful working together, and really have, one of the biggest challenges I would think you agree with was, these audits that haven't happened for years, but you've now caught them all up.
We have the audits caught up. The last 2 are being done. They're going to be ugly. It took us some doing to get us out of the mess of the last grab by the Commonwealth, which was the takeover of the Sheriff's Department. What people don't understand is that we had an extremely profitable structure down there that Peter Flynn put together called the Plymouth County Correctional Corporation, which was the sheriff, the chairman of the county commissioners, and the treasurer that had to agree on everything related to the building of the jail, as well as the operation of the building, not the function of the sheriff, just the building. And that bond was being paid down by we, the taxpayers of Plymouth County. And when they took the Sheriff's Department, they took the building, they took the assets, they took everything. They rebonded it and took the equity right out of it, and you probably gave it to Pittsfield.
Yeah, that's what I do.
So that really is why I get really angry about the county stuff, because all we've really been for the past few decades has been a supplier of money to solve other people's problems, and that's really not what we should be doing. We're trying.
It's probably not solving the problem. It's probably spending more money. It's probably what
Well,
it's doing.
I know that, every function that's gone to the state, including the sheriff's department, costs more money. It's not the sheriff's fault by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
He's stuck in a system now that's impossible for him to survive with the needs and wants that the Commonwealth puts on him. He's gone for supplemental budgets every year since he's left us, and one of the reasons he wanted to leave us is so he didn't have to go back and he could live within a budget. He can't. They don't fund it properly.
Yeah, on our January show, we're going to have Sheriff McDonald on there. We're going to talk about that because he does live by supplement budget.
Right.
And how do you live like that?
And it's not his fault.
No.
But his costs are still a lot higher, and I think it's because they took it from the counties. I mean, the county sheriffs did. I think he'll readily admit when you interview him, the county sheriffs ran more efficiently and did more than the sheriffs that were in the state system for the 7 or 8 years before they took the last 7 sheriffs. They took 7 and then they took 7 more.
Yeah.
They needed more money.
What are some of the successes that you've had in county
One
government?
of the biggest successes we've had is getting the finances on the ground, and I credit my colleagues Sandra Wright and Greg for holding the line and making some tough decisions, as well as the county treasurer for not being afraid to tell us you can't do it. That's my biggest success, is that if I don't get reelected in 2016. I can sleep really well knowing I came in a mess and I left it in perfect condition.
That's good.
The other successes that we've had is that we've got the courthouses on finally got them on a plan to get them so that they're respectable for the people that have to use the courthouses and the people that have to work in the courthouses. They're in deplorable condition. I thought I was the only one who understood why they were in deplorable condition until I read a report done by the town of Plymouth for your initial vote on your town hall project. The architect had done his homework and understood why that building, the 1820s courthouse, was in the condition it was, and that was in 1978 when they changed the way courthouses were run. They took our ability to do capital right from us. When we do capital in a courthouse, we don't get reimbursed. So successions of commissioners have said, why should we bother doing it if the state's not going to pay us? When we submit our bills, we get 82 cents back. We don't get $1 back. So we're doing nothing more than subsidizing the Commonwealth and the courts. We had a bill passed by your predecessor rather, Vinnie DiMacedo and Garrett Bradley pushed a bill through for us regarding changing the way they pay us, and they've already said, well, we read the bill a different way. We're not going to pay you. So, Senate President Murray orchestrated a nice meeting between all the minds to put the language in, and they're nitpicking the language. So we're going to arbitration already on a bill that was passed just a year ago that's just black and white telling us to do it one way, and they tell us to do it another way.
So this show is called State Matters.
Right.
It says how is the state helpful or not helpful for county government? It sounds like it's probably not as helpful as it probably used to be.
Well, it's not helpful because it's been taken apart, county government, since the 70s. But I will say that did turn the corner in the past 2 years. We've had 2 bills passed that have been pro-county. The bill that I just talked about with the courthouses, and also a bill regarding the liability of the sheriff's employees. When the sheriff's department was taken, and I was chairman of the advisory board, we wrote a stern letter to the administration saying, you're going to leave us with $32 million worth of liability. I think it was $32,547,000, whatever the number was to the penny. And we got a letter back saying, no, we're not, blah, 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 blah. Interestingly, they finally did their homework, and they started realizing not only was it to the penny that Tom O'Brien said it was, that we were correct, but it took 6 years of us convincing people to get that bill passed so that liability now goes with the Commonwealth. We still pay, there's still a few hospital employees that we're paying retirements on. There's still a few courthouse employees, probate employees that we're paying retirements on. So when the state takes the asset, they leave
take
us with the
everything.
liability. So that's
had
why
this-
the counties are always out of money. Sandy Wright was great. In 2010, she ran and got elected, and she asked me to sign her nomination papers at the Republican convention, and I didn't even know who she was. And I was chairman of the finance committee. And I said, "No, I won't sign them. I'm chairman of the finance committee." And she looked at me and she goes, "Well, I'm going to change everything. You're wasting our money down there." And I looked at her and I said, "Sandy, there is no money down there." So I get there 2 years later, and she goes, "You were right. There's no money down here." So
Have you had an opportunity to talk with the governor or the administration about this?
I've talked to the governor in the corridor of the State House just on one issue, and that's getting that $11 million released to get Brockton going. I'm so concerned that I don't think that the boilers and the heating system will make it through this winter. We don't have a backup boiler. The system should have 2 boilers. It should have redundant everything. We don't have anything redundant. We have an electrical system that was put in before there were computers, overtaxed. It's a mess there, and I'm trying to fix it all. And I need his assistance, and the trial court has given us the nod that they've told the administration that we want it funded too. So we're kind of in the queue for that, and I'm hoping that we get the good word soon. And I know that being a Republican, you can grab the governor's ear and help us out.
We can talk about that.
It's
Absolutely. Yeah.
Plymouth Superior Court serves Plymouth too, not just Brockton.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So we got a couple minutes left. Tell the folks where you meet and how often do you meet?
We meet just about every other week, 44 Aubrey Street in the old Sheriff Administration Building, which is now our offices. We used to have our own building over there behind the town hall. When the building was sold, we became a tenant. Melissa gave us a call one day and said, "Hey, we just passed our thing. You got to get moving." And they were great to us, and we got out of there. So we're on Aubrey Street. The meetings are open to the public. We usually get 4 or 5 people from Plymouth every meeting watching us to make sure. Thursday nights, usually at 5:30. And, you know, everything's open and transparent. We finally got our audits done. We're going to start posting our receipts on a monthly basis. We want people to know that there's no more funny business at Plymouth County. We're here to serve.
That's great. Well, thank you for your service and what you do. And
thanks for having me.
And the real quickly, town of Plymouth, things going okay? You trying to work with them? One word answer.
One word answer. Always try to work with our communities.
Okay, sounds good. Dan, thanks for coming today. We hope you enjoyed today's show. I want to thank the staff and volunteers at PAC TV for another great show. On our next show, we will be speaking with Plymouth County Sheriff John McDonald, who will be joining us to discuss the opiate crisis and the good work he's doing to help combat the problem. So tune in for that. Thanks for watching today, and we'll see you next time on State Matters.